Hello, sweet friends. Okay, so let me show you how I like to make some good smoked sausage and sauerkraut. I think y'all will love this. Even if you don't like sauerkraut, you may like this because Braden doesn't really like sauerkraut and he likes it whenever I make it with this method, okay? And I do it the exact same way, or close to the same way that I do my pork chops and sauerkraut. But tonight, we're going to do smoked sausage. Okay, so I have me a little bit of oil here in my skillet, just getting hot, just enough to coat the bottom, as you can see. And I have some smoked sausage here. So I'm just going to toss that in. See, I was afraid it was getting too hot, and it's not even hot yet. We'll crank it on up. Okay? So there's that. Let me show y'all what I got yesterday. So, y'all know I had to run to the store yesterday to get those potatoes to make my melting potatoes. Look at this big, huge package of my favorite smoked sausage that they had on. I don't want to hold it up too far because I know it has, I've opened it up and I know it has liquid in it. But this is my favorite smoked sausage. It is the skinless. Ooh, it is coming out a little bit. But I'm trying to get that brand up there so y'all can see it. I know it's backwards, but screenshot it if you need to. There it is. This is the best smoked sausage. I'm not advertising for nobody. I'm not affiliated. I'm just showing y'all what I like. Once you have this skinless, you really can't go back to the ones with the skin on it. Let me wipe my hand off because this is done dripped out everywhere. So anyway, what I was saying was I went to the store to get to pick up the potatoes. That was all I needed yesterday for our supper. And I always browse through the meat section, and they had that on sale, that big, it's a 4 lengths in there, like a double package basically. And it was on sale for $4.99, and I love that sausage, and there's so many different things you can do with it. So of course I had to get a pack, y'all. And so I grabbed that, and also y'all, I grabbed some bologna. Okay, so typically our sandwich meat that is our first choice is going to be turkey. But in the meat section there, they had, it was wrapped up, you know, like in the white paper, like old school type deal. And it said sliced bologna on it, and it had thick, and I guess the other was like regular cut. And I thought, well, I'm going to get the thick cut. And y'all, because I thought, well, that sounds great. I have that good fresh tomato that I'm still saving, that I bought the other day. And I thought, that sounds good, a good bologna tomato sandwich. And I thought Braden would like one to have for his lunch for a sandwich. So I grabbed a package of that. And y'all, I got that bologna out last night to, because like I said, you can't see it because it's wrapped up in the white paper. And y'all, that bologna was so big and thick. I forgot how big fresh sliced bologna is, I guess, because I was just like amazed by it. I mean, it was huge and it was thick. And I made him a sandwich for work today. And I asked him earlier, I said, how was that bologna sandwich? And he said it was so good. And I said, well, good, I'm going to make me one. I haven't made me one yet. I was going to today. But then once I decided I was going to cook this, I thought, well, I'll hold off. And so I'll probably make that tomorrow. But I'm going to show it to y'all. But anyway, so that's just me catching up. And I'm just going to fry this sausage up just a little bit. We're going to put all this together in a casserole dish and throw this in the oven. And y'all, it is so good and it's so flavorful. All right, let me get going with this and I'll be back. Okay, y'all, look at our smoked sausage. We've just got it good and browned up, seared up really good. So now what I'm going to do is just get it out and put it on a plate back here. Let me show y'all. Put it on a plate because we're going to cook up some of our other stuff before we put it all in the oven. Now, remember, I always tell y'all keep in mind, if you want to do this exact same recipe and throw it all in the crock pot, that is perfectly fine, okay? If you do have time, I do recommend searing up your sausage like this, but if you don't, hey, don't worry about it, okay? I understand those busy days when you just got to throw something together. So you can definitely just throw all this in your crock pot and cook it just the same. Okay, we have our hot skillet here, and now let me show you what we're going to put in. So now what we're going to do is a few potatoes. I have 2. I'm making a smaller batch here, but you can do however many potatoes you want. I have 2 of my Yukon Gold potatoes here that I have washed and peeled and sliced up really good. So we're going to toss those in there, okay? But I mean, you can see that just those 2 do make quite a bit. That was just 2 of them. So I'm just going to toss this around, and that good flavor from where our sausage cooked, and I'm going to turn it up just a little bit, and then I'm going to throw in some onions, and then we're going to go on to the next thing, and I'll be back, y'all. Okay, y'all, I moved this over here closer so y'all could see. You can see we just have our potatoes in here, just kind of searing up a little bit. And we're going to add some onion in here too, but I like to wait because your onion can kind of burn depending on how long you want to saute your potatoes, okay? So we're going to add some seasoning to this. We're going to season each layer. So we're going to add in a little bit of salt. Not much, because we're going to add salt to the other stuff too, okay? And a little bit of pepper on those potatoes. Alright, let's move that aside. We're going to do a little bit of garlic powder. Just a little sprinkle, y'all. And then we're going to do some of our Tonys. Of course, this is so good in this dish, y'all. Don't skip this part. It is so good. Just sprinkle some on your potatoes. And then I like to do a little bit of parsley. I know this is typically used for a garnish, but we're going to go ahead and put it on here anyway. That's a great thing about cooking in your own kitchen. You can do what you want, right? That's what I always tell y'all. Cook it however you want to cook it. Okay. So you can see we have all that good seasoning on there. Now what we're going to do, I have my onions here, and I'm going to add just a little handful of these onions into our potatoes, because we're going to add some of them to our sauerkraut whenever we put it in. Now y'all, I know this seems like a little bit of work, but once you get all this put together, it's no work at all. So it's not something that you have to tend to once you get this put up in the oven. Okay? So we're going to let those onions and potatoes cook down for just a second. Let's see, it's looking a little dry, so we may add a little bit of olive oil to it, just to let those cook. There we go, that's much better. Look at that, y'all. Okay, I'm just gonna let this cook for a few minutes, and then I'll come back and we'll do the next step, y'all. Okay, y'all, we just sauteed up our potatoes and those few onions that we tossed in there. We did that for maybe 5 minutes. You don't have to do it that long. And now what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and put this in our casserole dish. I have it right back here. So we're going to go ahead and pour that in. That's going to be the first layer of this delicious dish. Okay, we're just going to spread that out over the bottom. Okay, those potatoes, those little bit of onions. Alright, let me cut this down a little bit. Just get those evenly over the bottom, just like that, okay? Now in our same skillet here that we have all that good flavor in, we are going to add in a little bit of bacon grease. Now I know this is not the healthiest thing, but it is good. Even if you just cook your sauerkraut on the top of the stove, if you add a little bit of bacon grease, it will make all the difference in the world. Y'all thank me later, because I'm telling you, it is the best way. Alright, so we're going to melt that bacon grease down. I have my sauerkraut over here. Now I just got a jar this time. I really like to use the bag kind. You know, like you can get a bag of it that is in like with the sandwich meat, the hot dogs, the smoked sausage section, like all of that. You can get a bag of sauerkraut if you've never seen it. And that's my favorite, but they didn't have any today. I didn't want to go to Walmart, so I just got this jar of this right here. So I'm just going to drain this liquid out, y'all. Let me get this lid off. Let me let this get hot. I'm going to drain the liquid out of that and I'll come back. Okay, y'all, I have my drained jar of sauerkraut here, and I'm just going to toss that down in our skillet here. And like I said, you can use whatever kind you want. If you have homemade sauerkraut, that's even better. That's what I grew up on. My grandmother always canned homemade sauerkraut, and it was the best. Okay. I think I'm going to do a little bit of water in here to get the rest of that out. I'm not going to pour it in there right now because I want that to kind of cook up. But we're just going to toss this down in here. And that little bit of bacon grease, remember, that we put in there, y'all. I'm telling you, that's a key ingredient. It is so good. Okay? We got that on our skillet. Now we're going to add a little bit of seasonings, just like we did with our potatoes, y'all. A little bit of garlic. Not much. Okay? A little bit of our Tony's Creole. Like I said, this is very good in this. I know I add it to a lot of stuff, but it is very good in this dish, y'all. Okay, and then a little bit of pepper. And just a smidge of salt, because I'm sure that sauerkraut is already salted, and then we added the Tony's. So we don't want to get too carried away with it. Alright, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to crank it up. We're going to toss it around in that little bit of bacon fat that we put in there. And we're going to let this just cook for just a second. We're going to toss the rest of our onions in here. And then we will be ready to put it all in our casserole dish, y'all. And this will be so good. Like I said, I know this is a little bit more work than the traditional way, but I promise you, it's good and it's worth it. I'll be back, y'all. Okay, y'all, look at our sauerkraut. It has just sauteed up really good here in this skillet. We added those other onions in, and it is looking good. So now what we're going to do, of course, we're going to add our sausage back in to this. Get all that good liquid down in there. I'm going to give this a good toss around. Y'all. I'm telling you what, you've got to try this if you love sauerkraut, because you'll love this. It's just such a different little take on a meal like this. Okay, now what we're going to do, you know, we have our potatoes and onions back here. Let me turn y'all around so y'all can see that we seared up a little bit earlier, and we're going to put all of that on top of that. Okay? I know that spoon is probably loud, y'all. Let me get a different one. There we go. A quieter spoon. We're going to put all that on top of our potatoes, and remember we added some onions into that too. So, and we seasoned it. Remember, you want to season each layer of this. Okay, now we're going to just spread this out. Try not to get it everywhere like I'm doing. Spread this out over our potatoes, just like that. Now we're going to add in a little bit of broth. Now I had 1.5 cups. Y'all know I did the melting potatoes last night. So I had about 1.5 cups of broth left that I used in that can. So I have it right here. I just popped this in the fridge. I put a piece of foil over it. And now that's what we're fixing to use. And I may need more. And if I do, then we will make some. Okay, let's see here. I think we may need a little bit more, y'all. So what I'm going to do I'm gonna get out my little broth here. I'm fixing to mix them up in this cup really quick. I don't want to keep y'all waiting while I do this, so I'm gonna do this real quick and I'll come back. Okay, y'all, we have already put in 1.5 cups of our chicken stock. Okay, so I made up some more just using my powder and water, and I have another 1.5 cups here. Now I don't know that we'll need all this. I just want to go ahead and make sure that I made enough to make it. So we're going to drizzle some of that over the top. You kind of just want it to be covered just like that. Yep, that's good. Okay, so we have about half a cup left. So let's say about, so we did 1.5 cup and then a cup. So about 2 cups, okay? Let's say about 2 cups for this amount. You see it has that good liquid on top. Now what I'm going to do now, y'all, is I'm going to cover this in full and I'm going to pop this in the oven on 350. And I don't know how long I'm going to cook it. I can't remember. Y'all know I can never remember anything. But I'm thinking, you know, roughly 45 minutes or so. I will check it, and then I always take the foil off and let it cook a little bit longer. But first thing I'm going to do is cover it with the foil, pop it in there, and I'll come back and I will tell y'all exactly how I did it. Hey y'all, okay, our smoked sausage, our sauerkraut, our potatoes has been in the oven cooking on 350 for about 30 minutes. So now we're just going to take a look at it. Now you gotta be easy when you lift that foil up. Ooh, wait. Let me get me a spoon. Okay. The main thing we want to check is to see how good and done the potatoes are. Let me get y'all on down here so y'all can see a little bit closer. There you go. And y'all see the full effect. Alright, so we're gonna get out. This is what I typically do. I'm going to get out one of these potatoes. I'm just going to set it to the side over here. We're going to kind of mix this around. And now what we're going to do, or what I plan to do if the potato is kind of pretty good and soft, because of course we don't want hard potatoes. So let's see about our potato here. Okay. It's pretty good and soft. So now what we're going to do, we're going to leave the foil off, but I have this butter here. This is about 2 tablespoons of butter that I cut up in little bitty cubes, and I just popped it back in the fridge because it's so much easier to deal with if it's cold. Y'all know that. And we're just going to pop this all over the top of it. And y'all, this is what really sets it off. That good buttery flavor with that chicken broth and all these other good things in there. And y'all love this, I'm telling you. Let's see. Put another one right there. Like I said, I know it looks like a lot of butter, but really it's only 2 tablespoons. It is just that I cut it up in really fine, small pieces. Okay. Wipe my hands off. That's that. Now I'm going to pop this back in the oven uncovered for however long. I don't know, maybe another 30 minutes or so. I'm not sure, but look at this, y'all. Does that not look so good? It smells amazing. Okay, let me get this back in there and I'll come back and we're going to look at the end result. Okay, y'all, our little sauerkraut and smoked sausage casserole and potato is done. Let me show it to y'all. Look at this. Does this not look so good? So let me tell y'all what I did. So I cooked it covered on 350, and then I took the foil off and I cooked it for another 30 minutes uncovered. And this is what it looks like. Now, the only thing you want to check is just make sure your potatoes are done. I don't take that foil off and cook it until those potatoes are getting really good and soft. It's all going to depend on how much you're making, how thick your potatoes are, and all that. So once you kind of stir it around after your first 30 minutes, just make sure your potatoes are getting good and soft. If they're getting good and soft, then you're good to go. But if not, you might want to cook it covered for about 45 minutes. So just keep that in mind, okay, y'all? Because nobody wants any hard, crunchy potatoes. Okay, so let's look at this, y'all. Does this not look so good? All right, we're going to get some out, put on our plate here. And whenever you take that full off and cook it for that other 30 minutes, it cooks a lot of that liquid out, which is what I like, but you still have a little bit in there, and that's good. I like just a little bit of liquid, and then we're good to go, okay? Let's see. And I have some cucumbers over here that I did earlier that I'm going to have with this, but I'll put them on here in just a second. So I'm just going to show y'all this. Y'all, I am telling you what, I know my hair looks awful. I hiked today. I've been out in the yard all day. It's just a mess. But I'm telling y'all, if you love sauerkraut, you will love this recipe. It is just such a different take from like your traditional skillet sauerkraut, hot dogs, or smoked sausage, or pork chops, whatever you typically do with your sauerkraut. This is just a little bit different. And with that, putting that chicken broth in there, y'all, I tell you what, you'll love this. Once I started making it like this, I don't make it any other way, and I'm telling you, you will love it. So let's try it. It's so super hot. I try to let it sit out here for just a second to cool off, but goodness, it is still so hot. Y'all see little Belle over there? Let me move out of the way. Bella! There's her little face. What you doing? Her's ready to go for her walk, isn't she? She's ready to go for her nighttime walk. You wanna go walking? Yeah, she is. Her's ready. We're gonna go for a walk here in a second, y'all, after I get done with this. And she's ready for it. She knows it's time. So good. There's just something about, I don't know if it's the chicken broth or the seasonings or the slow cooking it in the oven or what it does, but it just takes your sauerkraut and all this to a whole different level. Y'all take my word for it. You will love this if you love sauerkraut. Or even if you don't, you may still love this. Like I said, Braden loves it whenever I cook it this way. And he does not typically like sauerkraut. And he wouldn't dare touch cabbage, you know, like cooked as cabbage or whatever. But this is so good. Those potatoes in there, the onions, the sauerkraut, the sausage, the chicken broth, and all those good spices, y'all. It is perfect, I'm telling you. Just so good, y'all. I promise you. Alright. There's little Belle over there. Y'all see her sweet little face over there. She's ready for her nighttime walk. So I'm going to get all this cleaned up, and I'm going to take her for her little walk that she's so patiently waiting for. And I will see y'all next time. Bye-bye.